Hi, happy Sunday. We're getting a lot of rain here in Florida, and if you guys need it in whatever state, city, or if you're abroad, I kindly send it to you two guys so that you guys can cool down. However, I came across this video, guys. Some people are aware of things and some are not. So I'm just bringing it to your attention as an awareness. But it shouldn't matter if this is what you're into, is what you're into. It's about, are the concert seats an illusion? I know it's this thing with media. They tend to focus in on the empty seats and post that. So I guess they can downplay the artist, or the the comic person. However, our football, it could be in all genres. So let's take a look at this, and let me know what you think in the comment, guys. And also, please do subscribe. This is a disclaimer, educational purposes only, but it's very interesting, literally. Okay, let's begin.
Went over how Jay-Z's tickets aren't selling. Prices dropped way below what resellers thought they could get. And I know you're expecting me to say his shows are going to be empty, right? Well, you expected wrong because I know that they won't be empty. Stick around and I'll explain what happens in part 2 of the manufactured music illusion. My name is Eka G, and you are now talking to a G. Let's get it.
Pay attention, guys. Take note, educational purposes only. Because I've been hearing a lot of these sidebars on YouTube about these concerts with the seats being empty. So here's your answer.
Let's get into it. Seat fillers used to be a very specific thing and only for televised events. Award shows like BET Awards, the Grammys, anytime a celebrity had to walk on stage, producers made sure the seats behind them were full. If someone got up to use the bathroom, the entire upper bowls empty. The thing is, it wasn't the scandal it looked like. It was just reality. Concerts had empty seats sometimes. It was actually standard practice for arenas to frequently block off behind the stage upper bowls or sections with obstructed views due to stage designs. Data shows the Indigo tour was highly successful. We all know the internet only cares about what they see. So social media ran with the narrative that these empty seats meant the artist's tour was a flop. That's when the seat filler industry saw a brand new department they could fill. First came papering, giving ultra discounted tickets to fill seats. There are apps that do this for sports games, comedy shows, and concerts. Apps like Fill a Seat, SeatStir, and local papering services have been doing this for years. You pay a membership fee and get a certain amount of tickets.
Hi guys,
but
please
concert
subscribe.
Seat fillers function a bit differently. They have to sign stricter paperwork. They can't post their tickets. They can't show how they got in. They can't reveal their seat fillers. They can't expose the empty sections. They sometimes pay an additional $5 to $15 extra for a restricted ticket, and they're placed strategically where cameras and phones will catch them. Here's how it works today. Promoters identify the sections that didn't sell. They bring in seat fillers, sometimes paid, sometimes volunteer, sometimes through apps. They place them in the lower bowl or anywhere cameras and phones will catch the crowd. They move people around to fill in gaps. They create the illusion of a jam-packed audience. And I know how this works because I've done it. I used to get emails to be a seat filler for things like award shows, TV shows, and reality TV reunions. Matter of fact, I just got another seat filler email recently for the ESPYs. In the past, I even filled in at the People's Court and the Caramo show. Remember I said TV shows use seat fillers, although it worked a bit differently? Well,
Hi guys in the chat. Hi. Guys, this is interesting. Stay here and listen to it out. It's about the illusion of concert seats being filled by seat fillers, not actual ticket buyers. Let's continue.
Well, for TV shows like these, they're referred to as paid audience members. So yes, I got paid for those, and pretty well too. Shout out to Judge Millian. It was during the time I finally decided to go full-time as a self-employed graphic designer. I used opportunities like the People's Court as a part-time to supplement my income until I gained enough graphic design customers to cover my bills. If you've ever attended a Wendy Williams taping or anything like that, it's a similar concept. But because there's more interest to go hang out with Wendy, it's pitched as free tickets. If they don't have enough audience members for filming, oftentimes production assistants will fill the gaps. So trust me, I know the system. Here are a few of my past photos and videos. In fact, this is how I learned that they often reuse audience footage. Even years after I stopped attending, I still got texts from people asking if I was at the Love and Hip Hop reunion. It was just old footage. Before we continue, if you're interested, you can sign up to do these things yourself. I'll link a few sites in the description. And if you find them useful, give your girl a subscribe, like, or comment. Before we get back to the industry illusions, I wanted to answer this question from Jellybane1 on the previous video. I'll clip it in so you can read it yourself. But here's my answer. For years, the concert industry flooded the market with back-to-back tours, assuming the experience economy would keep every show profitable. But once fans realized they couldn't attend everything, especially with ticket prices climbing into the thousands for artists like Beyonce, Taylor Swift, and Bad Bunny, people started saving their money for the few artists they considered truly unmissable. That shift exposed the mid-tier and legacy acts who never had strong touring demand. We've already seen cancellations from acts like the Pussycat Dolls, Meghan Trainor, and even portions of Post Malone and Jelly Roll stadium dates once Blue Dot Fever hit. Blue Dot Fever refers to seating charts being flooded with unsold blue sections. Because promoters can't afford to fill entire empty sections with seat fillers, especially now that social media expects every show to look packed, canceling the tour is financially smarter than pretending demand exists. Honestly, I love this correction. It's opening the door for the return of smaller, intimate venues, which is happening. Artists across pop, R&B, and indie have already begun shifting back to theaters and clubs because the stadium era was artificially inflated to begin with. You're also right about festivals. Legacy brands like Coachella, Glastonbury, Lollapalooza, and more built decades of trust, so fans bought tickets before lines dropped. The newer festivals were the ones who benefited most from the experience economy and fans purchasing tickets before lineups being announced. But even the legacy festivals saw quality slip because organizers knew people would show up regardless of who performed. Artists that could never see a Coachella stage before were being booked because it helped Coachella make a higher profit by not having to book artists that came with high booking fees.
Listen
which
up,
is why
guys.
Coachella faced complaints about weaker lineups. Bonnaroo saw backlash over bookings as well, and Rolling Loud was criticized for repetitive headliners. Meanwhile, newer festivals like Lovers and Friends, Something in the Water, and When We Were Young, who initially benefited most by the experience economy, struggled after the initial hype faded, proving that blind trust only works for brands with real cultural loyalty. The experience economy transitioning in the next few years will be the real test. Legacy festivals will survive if they rebuild quality, and newer festivals will either adapt or disappear. The market is finally correct.
That's right. It's about quality. If a person shows up to your concert, you should give great quality for the price of the tickets, especially here in 2026. Let's continue.
And we're about to see who actually has community, not just aesthetics. But back to the illusions. Megan Thee Stallion, a Rock Nation artist, was already called out for using seat fillers during her tour. People noticed entire sections being
Not Megan. Megan was using seat fillers, guys. Oh my. Let's continue.
filled last minute. Fans talked about how the crowd didn't match the sold out marketing. But even more, emails leaked from casting agencies, seat fillers, and more that invited local individuals to fill arena seats for her 2024 Hot Girl Summer Tour. Now, here's the part people find hard to understand. Not all seat filler situations are the same. Some artists use seat fillers just to cover those blocked off sections that fans love to expose online. The same way Chris Brown got blasted during his Indigo tour, when people posted entire empty blocks. That's an optics issue, not a demand issue. Artists like Nicki Minaj used a few tickets still being available last minute as proof that she has the same issue as Meg and others. However, a concert is generally considered sold out when 90% of available net capacity is reached. So even if a small percentage of tickets are still available the day prior to her concert, she's still technically sold out. Her demand is real, her ticket velocity is real, and promoters don't have to pay for her shows or dump prices to $20. But then you have artists whose streaming numbers and social media hype don't translate into real ticket sales, and that's when seat fillers become a lifeline. That's when you see a specific collapse pattern. Fake demand, inflated prices, dynamic.
Hi, guys in the chat. Hi. I hope everyone is having a great day. It's raining here in Florida, so I hope you guys are getting some rain to cool you guys down too. Let's continue.
Pricing crashes, last minute upgrades, papering the house, seat fillers being booked to hide entire sections. And the same pattern we saw with Megan's tour is exactly what we're seeing right now with Jay-Z's shows. In fact, yesterday I caught a few posts of fans excited that they received an upgrade for an extra $20. They're excited when really they should be upset they even paid the inflated prices to begin with. Because this is the manufactured concert illusion. So when you see Jay-Z's ticket prices collapsing, when you see resellers panicking, when you see large empty sections on the seating chart just days before the show, don't assume the show will look empty, because the industry always has a backup plan. And in this
Did you guys catch that? Let's continue.
case, that backup plan is called seat fillers. And honestly, Jay-Z fans still believing the hype reminds me of a holiday we just celebrated. On Juneteenth, we celebrate the slaves in Texas who remained working in the fields 2.5 years after they were already legally freed.
Oh my.
And this is why I would argue that music still has many enslaved to this day. Indy Ari was right. Not everybody wants to be free, and it's a very rude awakening.
Guys, now I want to know what you guys
November 22nd,
I want to know what you guys think about that. That was very interesting. And I thought I would share it with you guys because a lot of people I noticed is the concert going wait, the concert is gonna flop, blah 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 blah. And I was wondering why they were saying that, but now that you know how it works in real time, no, because they're gonna use seat fillers, okay? But please do subscribe, and guys, thank you for joining me, and please stay safe, all in a clown lifestyle. Thank you.